Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community.
Oklahoma nostalgia will be the topic on Read About It tonight. Hi, I'm BJ Williams. With me is Shirley Pritchett to talk about her book, Money, Marbles, and Chalk. Susie Beasley will be talking with Ruby Soutier. Kids Corner will feature Janet Brooks. We also have Doug Benton, Jim Nimmo, Heidi Daniel Morgan, and Becky Childers. Coming up, Shirley Pritchett.
The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It, with your host, BJ Williams.
Anybody who watches Read About It regularly knows Shirley Pritchett because she comes on every year to talk about the Wonderful Friends book sale. But in your spare time, because I know the book sale is an ongoing thing, you do storytelling, and you have recently written a book, and that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yes.
Money, Marbles, and Chalk. I'm going to ask you my typical question, which is, what inspired you to write this book?
When I had always wanted to write, and when I retired, I enrolled in a short story class, and since I couldn't come up with an original story, I pulled a story from my past to write for that class. And when I enrolled in another short story class, I wrote another story about my childhood because I already knew the setting, and I knew the characters, and I knew the plot, so I had a good part of it already done.
Hey, you were streets ahead of anybody else. Yes. Now, you call this a fictionalized memoir, and there's a reason for that, isn't there?
There is indeed. I have not tampered with characters any. I couldn't have written them any other way than what I did. They are so real to me and so precious to me. But I moved things around a bit. Chronologically, I altered things considerably.
Okay. Now, this takes place in Oklahoma for the most part.
Yes, in Oklahoma City.
And you spent the first few years of your life in Kansas City, but you didn't remember a great deal about them, understandably.
Understandably. We moved there when I was 6 weeks old, yes.
Right. But this was during the Depression, and your daddy had to go to Kansas City. Now, in this, I have to say, I've been reading the book to a group of elderly ladies who are really enjoying it.
I'm so flattered.
What they really enjoyed was Shirley Pritchett got her dad fired from his job. I thought that was wonderful the way you wrote that.
And I have a distinct memory of that very embarrassing scene. I remember my parents' reaction to it very clearly.
It's amazing how these things stick with us, isn't it? And I really enjoyed your stories about moving back. You moved back to Oklahoma City, a huge German-American family.
Yes.
I was stunned at the number of aunts and uncles and cousins, and every Sunday.
Every Sunday. And Mama always said death was not a good enough reason to show up for dinner at Grandma Albrecht's house.
So, but you had a hard time fitting into that at first, didn't you?
Believe it or not, I was very, very shy as a child. Yes, I had a terrible time fitting in initially. And then, of course, once I did, I didn't want it to ever change.
And I enjoyed, because I didn't care for school the first time I went. I couldn't believe you were willing to let your daddy go to jail. If only you could not go to school.
Don't you love that kind of discipline? And that was prevalent in the 30s. If you don't do this, I'll have to go to jail.
Right. Lord. And I could just see you, Shirley. Oh my! But then you got to thinking about it.
That's not so bad.
Well, and you talked with your, was it Uncle Willis?
Uncle Willie.
Uncle Willie,
yes.
Had he really run off to join the...
Yes, he had gotten mad at his father and gone off and joined the circus. Yes, he had.
Okay, so you went right to the source.
Oh, yes, I did. Sounded like a good idea.
Now, did you said you moved things around chronologically. Did you go back and do any kind of research to make sure that you remembered events?
You know, I wrote this with pure emotion. I did not I did not go back and do any kind of research other than when my well would run dry, when I knew I was going to turn this into a book and I needed more chapters. I've got cousins that live up in Edmond. In fact, I'm meeting one for lunch today, and I could go up and we could have lunch and I could come home. I remember that now, and I could write a chapter about it.
Super. Now, this is a self-published book, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
How did you go about doing that?
How did I go about doing it? I suppose it begins that I am initially a storyteller, and long before I finished this book, in fact, when I had only a few chapters, people began saying, where can we buy these stories? Have you published these? And I had not. Eventually, when I decided to, it seemed a natural thing to self-publish it and take it with me when I do my storytelling and offer it for sale at the end of my programs. I contacted a lady who teaches desktop publishing, and she set it up for me. My cousin helped me design the covers, and Kinko's prints it, and it works out very nicely for me.
Well, I am really impressed, because I know it's extremely difficult these days to get a publisher to accept a manuscript. And even if they do, they're not going to help you sell it.
No, they will not help you sell it. And I've always felt like that this book would be lost in a bookstore. It would just simply be lost. The appeal of it is when people hear these stories and then they want to read more of them themselves.
Now, a group can contact you and
oh,
get
I
you to
would
come
love
out
that. That's what I do. I go
stories.
tell my stories and offer my book for sale. That's the very best.
Right. So anybody who wants to hear more about this, well, they need to contact you to get a copy of the book, and
Yes.
then if you've got a group or something, they have a group, then you would love to come out.
They can call and book a program with me.
And they can call at 405-789-8669. ohmyone@aol.com.
That's Ami.
Ami, I'm sorry.
Ami one.
See, I can't read either. Well, OMMY1.
Yes.
So, now, what advice would you give to somebody who has a lot of stories about the past and has been thinking, oh, I couldn't possibly sit down and write?
In my memoir class, I have students come up and say, that was the most important thing you taught me. People forever after I read these stories come up to me and say, but nothing interesting ever happened to me. And that isn't true. It's not what happened to you, it's how you look at it, how you perceive it that makes it interesting.
Because the stories that you write about in here, lots of things were going on in the world, and you weren't in the middle of the German takeover of Poland
None
or
of that.
at Pearl Harbor
None
or
of
anything.
that.
Yeah.
None of that, except that the things that were going on in my life were important to me at that time, and therefore I was able to make them significant in the book.
Well, and I really like the way you portray the relationships in your family. It sounds like you had really wonderful material to work with.
Oh, I did.
But I thought you did a very good job of portraying those very important, very basic relationships, the way people just kind of rub along.
Against each other, yes.
Very good. So, can people are you still teaching your How to Write Memoirs class?
I have a class booked sometime it starts in late May. They can call Frances Tuttle. I think the title of this class is How to Write Your Personal Experiences.
So,
and I do one-day seminars on teaching memoirs too.
Okay, so anybody who wants to just have a rollicking good time or pick up a little bit of information.
Information can come to my class, yes.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Shirley, for being with us.
And thank you for having me, BJ.
Thanks. We've had with us Shirley Pritchett. She's been telling us about her wonderful book, Money, Marbles, and Chalk. You can contact her to get a copy of the book or just have her come and tell you some great stories. Coming up next, we have Susie Beasley. She'll be talking with Ruby Soutier about a book we'll all enjoy.
Hi, Ruby. Can you tell us a little bit about this book, After Midnight by Merle Lovelace, a local author?
Yes, she is. She was in the Air Force for like 24 years or something, and she lives locally now. And this book, After Midnight, is set at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, which she also, the author actually served at that Air Force Base. But the main character of this novel is named Jessica. She goes by Jess, and she is sent to the Air Force Base to take control of a certain part of the base. And there's some kind of weird things going on with the fuel and the supplies, and she's supposed to, I think, kind of find out what's going on and take care of it. But she has a history in this part of Florida because as a small child, she and her mother had lived in this vicinity, and they were run out of town in the middle of the night by the sheriff.
Okay, so the history comes forefront with her being in the military and trying to investigate what's going on there.
Right.
So when Jess and the sheriff finally meet, what goes on after that?
Well, she meets the current sheriff. His name is Steve, and he's very handsome and very charming, and there's an immediate attraction there. I guess I should go on to say that this book, After Midnight, is romantic suspense, but it is pretty heavy on the romance part. And it's a very readable novel. It's very interesting. The suspense mostly has to do with this incident in her past involving her mother and 5 local men and why they were run out of town by the former sheriff. And of course, then, like I said, she and the new sheriff, Steve.
So that's when the fiery romance comes in. And the first is like the spine-tingling suspense is to get the history of what's going on with the mother and them leaving town so many years earlier. So the prime suspect. Is that supposed to be a surprise?
I think it's supposed to be a surprise, so I won't say who it is, but you kind of have, you know, little steps leading up to where you're pretty sure that you know who it is.
Right. So Merlene has published, I don't know how many books, but I know that she has sold more than 5 million copies, or there are 5 million copies in print.
She writes all different kinds. She writes historical novels, and she writes contemporary romances, and she's written several suspense novels.
Well, we really appreciate you coming and sharing with us, Ruby, Merlene Lovelace's After Midnight, set in Florida. And this book is available at your local library, and we know it'll be at your local bookstore. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Yo, see that girl? She sets the curve in my math class. Always has her homework right. Me? I hate homework, but I gotta do it, you know? But I found out her secret. She logs on to the Metro Library website and then clicks on their homework center. I couldn't believe what they have there. Help for math, science, English, and lots of other stuff too, like encyclopedias, newspapers, magazines, even science experiments. Metro Library's Homework Center website is one-stop shopping. You can even find the phone number of the nearest library so you can renew your library books. Check it out. It's like having the resources of an entire bookstore right in your computer. And since it's from Metro Library, you know the information will be dependable and up to the minute. But hey, I gotta go and log on and get to work. From now on, I'm setting the curve.
Coming up next is Kids Corner. Kelly Rio will be talking with Heidi Johnson about books for our very young readers.
Hi, today we have a great book. It's called Fun with Kids in the Kitchen. Imagine your kids in the kitchen. And Heidi Johnson from Tech Processing at MLS has brought us this. Heidi, tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, I think it's a great book to get kids to eat the vegetables.
Really?
To eat more healthy and be more aware of what goes into preparing a meal, to maybe be more appreciative of, you know, the regular cook in the house. It has a great test at the beginning of the book, whether you're ready to go into the kitchen.
So there will be a test.
There will be a test. Actually, they show you pictures of utensils and all of that, and if you recognize all the utensils that you'll be needing in the kitchen, you will be able to prepare these recipes. Each page tells you a little bit, though, whether you'll need adult help, like to get something hot in and out of an oven or something like that, whether it is edible, because there are some recipes in there that are recipes but not for food per se, like face paint, body paint.
Oh,
And so it has a variety of different things in there. The food is very attractively prepared. It uses healthy ingredients, stresses low fat versus calorie loaded and
So
fat
it's really
loaded.
educating kids about how important nutrition is.
Correct.
In a fun way.
Yes, and which types of food fall into what categories. It also talks about the food pyramid. And I love the names of some of the recipes that they've come up with. I brought a little cheat sheet. I forgot some of the wonderful names. It says banana pineapple slushes, which sounds yummy. Smiling apples, very intriguing. And it has nuttier butter. For breakfast, we have sunshine breakfast bars, flour pot bread.
Ooh, you're making me hungry.
There is a vegetable parade, which talks about salsa amigo, and soup with nothing in it. Plus, it shows you how to make super stone soup. And I was not familiar with that. When I read up on it, basically the stone that you put in with your soup will keep your food hot for up to an hour afterwards. It prepares the food so it looks like fun to eat. They're making vegetable robots and give you great ideas what to use for the bodies and how to make vehicles, edible vehicles. Also great ways of serving the food. One that really impressed me was get a dump truck, clean it up very nice, put your food on the dump truck and dump it onto the table. So, for children, I think that really will go over with great. And first it gives you each recipe has a little bit, okay, you need the following tools, you need the following ingredients. All right, now let's get it ready, follow the directions, and get to cooking.
It's got some great illustrations.
Yes.
With kids like this one with stone soup, she's holding a spoon with a big stone in it.
Right, and I think that's what caught my eye, is are you supposed to eat this? Now that would not be very healthy, but then when I read up on it, it was really a great idea.
Oh, it's great fun. There are a lot of recipes for kids. This is something you can do with your kids, or grandparents can do with their grandkids. A very interactive book. We know you'll like it. Find it at your local bookstore or at your public library.
Coming up next, I had an opportunity to talk with Janet Brooks from our material selection at the Metropolitan Library System about some of the awards that are given each year for children's books. I think you'll enjoy what she had to say. Okay. Janet, you're here to talk about a couple of awards for children's books. One of them is the Newbery and the other is the Caldecott. And tell us a little bit about what are they?
These are awards that are given to authors, the most distinguished author of the previous year. These you can count on being the best of the best for American authors of children's books. The Newbery Award was named in honor of John Newbery, and it is given to the novel age group. The Caldecott is for John Caldecott, who was an illustrator himself, and these are for all of the best illustrated books for the year. These are both decided by a committee of librarians at the national level. The American Library Association sponsors these awards. And these librarians look at books that come out all year long. They meet once and make their choice on the best. And this is such a popular thing. Librarians fight to be at the banquet that announces these awards because it is such a pleasure to get to see and hear why they chose them. But they're looking at things that are, appropriate to the age group. How well do they convey the medium, the illustrations, or how well are they constructed? The development of the plot, a lot of literary criteria that they look at in deciding which are these very good books. These awards have been given for years. Caldecott goes back to the 20s, Newbery almost as far back, and all of these are available at your libraries. Parents can pretty much guarantee that these are going to be really good books to read and explore.
So you could actually go to your library, and probably someone there has probably got a list of Newbery winners
and
recently.
many of our libraries in our Oklahoma County area have special areas where they highlight these books. They are listed as juvenile award books or things like that. So we've made it pretty easy for the people to find those in the library. There are bookmarks available. They are available on our library webpage for the children, so they can find access to these lists pretty easily.
And so for fond parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, if they are buying a book, they can stop by the library, get the bookmark, and then head to their local
bookstore. And
bookstore.
Because they're so good, many of them are still available for purchase. They are still in print. Some of the older ones may not be, but these are long-lasting, well-read, well-deserved books, so they're still available.
Great, thanks, Janet. You can find out more about the Newbery and the Caldecott Awards at your local library. It's time now for the New York Times bestseller list. We'll start out with hardback fiction. Number 10 on that list is Lost Life by Michael Connelly, Dirty Work by Stuart Woods, Birthright by Nora Roberts, The Devil Wears Prada by Lauren Weissenberger, Wild Orchids by Judy Devereaux, The King of Torts by John Grisham, The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, The Second Time Around by Mary Higgins Clark. Number 2 is The Guardian by Nicholas Sparks, and number 1 is LaHaye and Jenkins' Armageddon. On the nonfiction list, number 10 is Michael Savage's The Savage Nation, Stupid White Men by Michael Moore, I Am the Central Park Jogger by Tricia Melly, Positively Fifth Street by James McManus, The Crisis of Islam by Bernard Lewis, Krakatoa by Simon Winchester, The Future of Freedom by Fareed Zakaria, Robert Patterson's Dereliction of Duty, What Should I Do With My Life by Poe Bronson is number 2, and Queen Noor's Leap of Faith is number 1. On the children's list, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling is number 10, Junie B., First Grader, Toothless Wonder by Barbara Park, The Miserable Mill by Lemony Snicket, Dancing in My Nutty Pants by Louise Renison, The Wide Window by Lemony Snicket, The Reptile Room by Lemony Snicket, The Carnivorous Carnival by Lemony Snicket, The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket. Number 2 is Princess in Waiting by Meg Cabot, and Anne Brashear's The Second Summer of the Sisterhood is number 1. Coming up next is Doug Benton of the Metropolitan Library System and the Oklahoma Gazette. He'll be talking with Jim Nimmo of the Downtown Library about some music that you can check out at that library.
Hello, everybody. Jim Nimmo is with me today, and Jim has brought some classical music that is a bit exotic. I believe that's right, with an X, right?
Yeah,
okay.
with an X. I first found this CD called Exotic Dances from Operas. When I first saw it, I thought, erotic dances. And I was, wow, that really grabbed me. But then I looked a second time, and it's unfortunately only exotic dances.
Oh, well.
The cover shows the foot, and it seems to be sort of a foot fetish theme running through some of these. It runs not only from the familiar, such as the Dance of the Seven Veils from Salome and the Bacchanal from Samson and Delilah, which many people know by hearing, if not by name,
right.
But also extends to the obscure, the non-famous, by a selection from a Dvorak opera, and a selection from an opera called The Cobbler of Cairo, composed by a Frenchman, Rambaud, I guess it's pronounced R-A-B-A-U-D, which is really a delightful piece. So I really recommend this this particular cut, as well as the entire CD. It's very tuneful, it's very boisterous, it's something you don't have to sit and concentrate on. You can have it on in the background while you're doing housework or chopping onions or something disagreeable to take your mind off of it.
But the piece on there, I know, I will tell you, if you're put it on in the background, you may find yourself stopping what you're doing to listen.
Yes.
Because of the familiarity. Now, is it a true compilation piece with several orchestras performing the music?
This entire CD is performed by the Minnesota Orchestra, conducted by A.G. Owe, the recent music director of that orchestra. And I think also this CD serves to point out the wealth of major orchestras in this country, besides the well-known orchestras on each of the coasts, like Philadelphia, Boston, New York, or Los Angeles, San Francisco on the West Coast. But also, there are major orchestras in the hinterlands, such as the Minnesota Orchestra, St. Louis Symphony, the Houston Symphony, the Dallas Symphony. So this country has a great wealth of classical symphony orchestras of a very high caliber.
Yeah, I know people who aren't terribly familiar with classical music may think of the New York Philharmonic and the Boston Pops, and that would be about it, you know.
But this orchestra has, this country has a great list of orchestras that when I listen to them, it's hard for me I have to remind myself that these are being played by live people, real people, and it's not some sort of a karaoke computer-generated machine.
Yeah.
These are real people, real sweat and real blood and tears go into these performances.
Yeah. Now, this is exotic dances from opera. Is there singing? Are people who really hate operatic singing, are they going to run away from this?
These are just the dances. You hear everything that was written for the orchestra, and there's no voices in the background.
Okay. Well, so it's not an introduction to opera singing, but to opera ballet, perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Again, it's exotic dances from the opera. Jim, thank you for bringing it in for us.
Thanks for the
Thank you all for listening. We'll see you again soon.
Heidi Daniel Morgan will be talking with Edmond North High School student Becky Childers about a book she really enjoyed.
Hi, Becky. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the book you brought today?
Okay, Shampoo Planet is a book by Douglas Coupland, I guess, and it's just pretty much, it's a really interesting book. It's about a boy named Tyler Johnson, and it's about him kind of growing up, like coming into age, like 20s, turning into adult in the year 2000, kind of coming up into that era, and he's just trying to find himself. He doesn't really know where he is in his life, and he tries to meet people, like start relationships with girls, for instance, and then they break apart, and he always gets confused because he doesn't understand. And he didn't really have a very stable family, because his mother was kind of outgoing and a hippie, I guess you could call her, and he never grew up with his father, and so it's not very stable. So he's just trying to find himself and his place in society.
I see. So he grew up in kind of a dysfunctional family, and it kind of is carried over into his personal relationships.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, but it's not always his fault. Yeah, so, he doesn't do anything wrong. At least he doesn't think that he does, but a lot of people always get confused by him. They don't understand him all the time and stuff like that. And I wouldn't really call his family dysfunctional. They're just different, I guess, like his mom, she loves him so much, and his sisters, and his sister and his brother, they really like him a lot too. And I don't know, it's really good though. It's very interesting.
Well, is the story told in kind of a humorous tone, or is it serious, or a little both maybe?
I think maybe a little of both, because he can be humorous when he's trying to be serious, because it's kind of like him talking about himself. You can hear his thoughts in his head, and you kind of think it's funny, because you know that even those are like weird thoughts, you've thought of them too, and so you're like, oh, okay, and it's kind of funny in that manner.
So did you feel like you could really relate to the character of Tyler?
Yeah. It's kind of embarrassing to admit that though, because he does say a lot of weird things. People would be like, oh my goodness, but you're like, everybody's thought of that before, so.
And the title is really unusual, so do you know why it's called Shampoo Planet, or do we have to read that to find out?
Well, Shampoo Planet, you would have to read it to find out, but just, a mall, there's a store in there, so it just has a really kind of weird tone to it. I don't know, you're gonna have to read it though.
Okay, I'll definitely have to check it out. And so overall, is this book more for young adults, for adults?
For both, because it's a young adults coming into age, and then adults can relate because they did have to come into age, so it's really good though.
Well, I know he's pretty famous for writing kind of coming of age books for that genre.
Yes.
So. Well, great. Thanks a lot for bringing the book to us, Becky.
Well, thank you for letting me talk about it.
And we'll definitely have to check out Shampoo Planet by Douglas Coupland.
Okay.
I know it is wet, and the sun is not sunny.
Hi, my name is Jose Jimenez of your Metropolitan Library Commission. Most experts tell us that if you just spend 20 minutes a day reading to your child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're also preparing that child to learn how to read. Check with the experts at your Metropolitan Library for suggestions on just the right books for you and your family. And visit us at our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
Check out the Metropolitan Library System on the web at www.metrolibrary.org and find out everything you need to know about us. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next time.